Thank you for joining me once again, and thank you for your encouraging feedback about this program. My aim is to always speak to the matters that concern you, the Dominican people, and your questions and comments have been welcome. On today's program, I will spend some time speaking about the tourism industry. Tourism, as you all know, is a major driver of jobs and growth and is a significant part of our national economy. The impact of COVID-19 on tourism businesses and their employees has been unprecedented. The pandemic has brought travel, business, operations, and social interaction to a standstill, and tourism has been the worst affected of all major economic sectors. This is made worse by the uncertainty as to when activity will fully resume. Therefore, as government, we need to consider the long-term implications of the crisis. We admit it will be a complex and challenging task to reopen the tourism economy amid the lingering concerns associated with COVID-19. Yet, we have already begun the recovery process and are in discussions with various stakeholders on ways to jumpstart activity in the sector. Our discussions center on approaches to lifting travel restrictions, restoring confidence, and rethinking our strategies for development of the sector. Today, I will speak with the Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, Honorable Dennis Charles, about the work of the government to resume activity within the sector and forge a path to recovery. I have also invited two tourism service providers to talk to us about how they are sustaining their businesses given the new realities brought on by COVID-19. You're welcome to call in during the program to interact with my guests. I'd like to welcome Honorable Dennis Charles, our Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives. Honorable Charles, welcome to Anupali.
Good evening, PM, and thanks for the opportunity to be on Anupali. I want to say a pleasant good evening to my constituents in Point Michel, Galio, Soufriere, and Scottshead, and to the listening public.
I want to say to you that you are fortunate to have to be the representative for a very special constituency. It is a constituency that I've always wanted to represent directly in Parliament. So I am not ruling out that in my next life in politics, I would like to be the far rep for the Soufriere constituency. You know, I have so many friends there and wonderful people, but I want to say a special hello to Caroline, you know, my wonderful little friend there from Scottshead. You know, I don't want to start calling names because I have to call everybody in this constituency. But tell us about the Soufriere constituency. How are things there? What are you doing for the people?
Well, Pierre, let me first start by saying that the constituents wanted me to express their profound thanks to you for the sterling leadership in the way you managed the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, we were just recovering from Hurricane Maria, and here we had to deal with another disaster in terms of a pandemic, and the responsible way in which you led the government, the Ministry of Health, the frontline workers, and the entire team. They wanted me to express the profound thanks. And also for the care packages that you organized as leader of the Dominican Labour Party government. It really went a long way in touching many families who, some of them had lost their jobs, and were grateful for the support.
Well, we stand ready to continue to support the wonderful people of the Soufriere constituency. But what are the projects though? I mean, I know in Point Michel, for example, housing is a major issue.
Yes.
What are the plans? I know we built some homes, but what we built certainly
so as you know,
is not enough.
As you know, PM, after the hurricane, about over 50 families lost their homes. I'm happy tonight that I can say to the people that we have identified land for the construction of over 48 units in the first phase. And we have also identified an area for HOTS to build some standalone homes from some families we have to relocate who live near the ravines. And so that has been a major issue for us.
So as I understand it, your first site of 48 homes.
48 homes.
And your second site, which is the old estate house where you build, the second phase will be constructed.
Later down. Yeah. There was an area where we wanted to put further apartments, but it was earmarked for the expansion of the playing field, so we could not build.
So we had to cut the number.
Right. So as a result, we get 48 units. The constituency is doing great. In Point Michel, one of the major concerns has been sporting activities. That is why we are focused on the expansion of the playing field to create a world-class field so we can play football and cricket, and we're not affecting the cricket season when we're playing football by having the pitch in the center. So he's going to address that. I know one of the concerns for the youth there is the multi-purpose basketball court, which we started before the hurricane, and we are hoping that in this fiscal year we'll be able to complete that project.
My recommendation to yourself down there in Point Michel is that we should maybe look at covering of the basketball court as part of the next phase, so that to enhance the amount of time that we can use the facility, because basketball, volleyball are huge things in Point Michel.
Very, very important for us, huge sporting community. In terms of Soufriere PM, the health center, as you know, over 2 years ago you approved for the health center to be funded under the CBI program, but we were unable to identify suitable land to build the health center. But I'm so happy that we finally negotiated land close to where the old agricultural station was, and we were able to build that new health center for the people of Soufriere in a matter of weeks. And I want to further thank you because we not only were able to negotiate for the land for the health center, but you approved for us to negotiate further for the entire acre of land so we can use for expansion for housing. Because you know that because of the sulfur springs and the areas where government owned land in Soufriere, we could not build housing, and it has been we've been trying our best to identify lands for housing. So that's great news for the people. We have some issues with some roads, one being Rose Hill and the road leading to the sulfur springs, and we hope to address that issue in the upcoming fiscal year. The Rose Hill Road is on the community road projects, and so we hope to start soon. But we did start the Bois Cotlet Road leading to Colibri Ridge Resort, which we hope will open by the first quarter of 2021, providing over 50 jobs for our people.
Because my understanding is that the investor indicated the only outstanding matter is regards to the road. So once he gets the road, then he will open up the hotel.
Finally, yes.
I'm really hoping finally this hotel is open up. I mean, it's a wonderful property. I've been there.
Beautiful.
And it creates a lot of jobs for the people there. But I'm hoping that I'm happy that the government, for your efforts, is constructing this road, and we look forward to the first quarter of 2021, as you're saying.
To finally open the resort. In terms of Galio PM, the people are very happy with the resurfacing of the road. I mean, you can fly up the road of Galio right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to move with the community center.
Yes, that's the next phase under the fiscal year. But one key thing I have always spoken about for the people of Galio is agro-tourism. So we were finally able to register a farmers group, and we have 4 leaders in the village who have stood up to assist in organizing the farmers, seeing how much funds we need to start and the tools required, and what we're going to plant up there so we can transform Galio into agro-tourism destination as part of the way people can earn a living in Galio.
No, I have a bus driver friend in Scott said, Pato. I say good night to Pato. I tried calling earlier and get you. But Pato has said, bati waje chimela basically damager bossman. So what news do you have for part of the bus driver and so many of the bus drivers in Scott said in regards to the broken section on the Scott said Soufriere Road?
Yes. Yeah, as you know, when you invited me to come to this program this Sunday, I said one of the key things that may come up is that broken road in Gallet in Scottshead. And you said to me that by next week we'll have some men on the ground to do a permanent fixture on the road. We had done some dressing on the road temporarily, but every time it rains, it washes away.
I don't agree with the tariff that was placed in town. We have to surface the road properly.
Yes.
But I'm leaving Pato in charge, so he will tell me whether you're fixing the road for him next week. Because we really do need to fix that piece of road that's damaging the bus drivers' buses and so forth. So you say next week we
Yes.
will commence. We want to put concrete,
Concrete on the road.
about
In the garage.
6 inches of concrete,
Yes.
and so that we
Yes.
don't have a problem on it. Great.
The other great news for Skerrit is the fact that we have acquired, government has approved the approval for the acquisition of the land in Skerrit in Savan. We have acquired 3 acres of land, and we also are going to commence building housing units simultaneously with Point Michel in Skerrit.
And my understanding that you will be building some 48 in 48?
Over 30.
30, over 30 in Scotland at the first phase?
Yes.
First phase. So you will be doing both housing in both Scotland
And Point Michel.
and quite possibly with the land purchase
In
Soufrière as
Soufrière,
well.
in the next phase, we can consider Soufrière.
Okay.
So it's a really exciting time for us in the Soufrière constituency.
But one of the things I would really like to see return to Scotland is Corny Corner.
Yes.
You know, what are your views on this? I mean,
This is one of the things I've earmarked in terms of tourism to bring economic activity. It was a major event for us. A lot of people would come and visit Skerrit. We still have a lot of people visiting Skerrit now, but we need an activity that will happen every month. So we want it to be a monthly thing that every Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays, whichever day people choose, we'll be having Corny Corner. So I'll be coming to you for some funding for that event.
I'm saying to you, I would like to see Corny Corner come back. Whatever the government can do to support, the government will support Corny Corner. So, you know, it looks like a lot of things happening in the Soufrière constituency. Maybe by the time I become the part of it, nothing I have to do anymore because you know, everything, you know. But let's move to tourism. You know, a major part of your portfolio. As we indicated, you know, COVID-19 has dealt a serious blow to tourism with restaurants closed, bars, you know, hotels, guest houses, you name it, they all have been impacted dramatically. How is the Ministry of Tourism regrouping to rebuild the sector?
Before I respond to your question, PM, I would like to officially say congratulations to Secret Bay, who captured awards in World's Travel and Leisure magazine for being the #1 resort hotel in the Caribbean and #6 in the world. Pierre Martineau, tourism accounts for 3,000 to 5,000 jobs in the economy, and we, by all indications and in consultations with all stakeholders, we are on our way in 2020 to having a fantastic year. Unfortunately, we got dealt with the COVID pandemic, and quite a few people lost their jobs. And one of the key things we did, and through your leadership as well in terms of the fiscal measures, is lobby for funding, so that when we reopen the sector, that the small business vendors and the facilities and the resort owners could get the funding necessary to prepare themselves to implement the protocols that have been implemented by the Ministry of Health. So we have a small business line of credit at the Aid Bank, where tourism business owners can access funding up to $15,000 for businesses earning $250,000 or less. And just 2 weeks ago, you announced the credit facility for medium-sized businesses.
So that was up to $40,000.
$40,000, and that was excellent, because one of the feedback was that most businesses in the sector, especially in the hotel industry, earn over $250, and they needed the funding to be able to implement some of the protocols going forward and the changes they will have to make. I also want to say that we received approval for concessions on equipment and materials, because, as you know, adjustments would have to be made. For example, they would have to go to sensor toilets and sinks, buy more materials for sanitization, and so that support was given by the cabinet. And also the moratorium given at Aid Bank for 6 months, where tourism business resort owners who had access funding at the Aid Bank.
That's on a 2% loan.
Under the 2% loan.
And also other facilities at the bank.
Right. Got a grace, so they were not required to pay any interest or principals for 6 months, giving them additional working capital to be able to implement some of those protocols. So that is one way we have been working with the vendors.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
The other thing we have done in the tourism sector is that during the downtime, we organized a tourism task force, including of all the stakeholders in the industry, representatives from the resort sector, from tours, taxis, and the private sector. And we met and we had very constructive and detailed meetings, and they came up with even many of the protocols that we'll be implementing once the sites are reopened, for the restaurants, for the taxis. So, and we also decided that given the responsible way that we have been managing the reopening of the economy, it's the same approach we took in tourism. So you would recognize that the first launching we did was for the staycations 2020.
But how is that going? I mean, you launched it a couple weeks ago?
Yes, we did.
Weeks ago, the hotels that participated, guest houses.
Yes.
How is that going?
It's going great, PM. The only drawback is that in order to participate, most of the resorts have to get certified, and that is a process. So once they put all the protocols in place, they'll be certified by the health promotion unit. But we have seen a great interest in terms of citizens being interested in supporting the hotels and more properties that want to participate. And even tour operators like Sheppy and Shy Guy also have promotions on the Experience Dominica.
Well, some people have told me that they find that the rates are a little bit high for locals in a staycation environment. I mean, I'm on the ground, other people tell me, they whisper in my ears, they tell me when the Minister of Tourism comes, they put this to her so that she can tell the hotel operators that, look, can we have a Dominica price? A COVID-19 price, they tell me. So I was putting out there, you don't have to respond, but I'm sure they're all hearing me. And I'm sure they'll respond accordingly. So because I believe that based on what people are saying to me, that there should be a special package. Is there a special package for people like me?
Yeah, they're great rates for different resorts.
Okay.
Yeah, Secret Bay, weekend packages or day rates. You have sip and swim.
Sip and swim.
Sip at Atlantic Bay Resort. So there are different packages, but I'll take the point you brought up, and we can have further discussions.
But I also think too that there must be a little hyping up of the promotion from the property owners themselves. I get a sense that we need to have more hyping up and so on. But thank you very much. So we're making some progress with the staycation and so on. But what other actions is the ministry taking to jumpstart the sector?
As I said, PM, during this downtime, we did a total assessment of the sector. And one of the key things we recognize is that whereas Dominica has great natural products, and we have done very well in terms of promoting responsible tourism in Dominica, which is a balance between the economics and preservation of our natural habitats and livelihoods. And we want to continue that focus in the tourism industry. But we realized there are niches that were naturally growing in the economy, and we needed to pay great attention to. So, for example, under aqua tourism, the yachting sector, a lot of yachties visit Dominica monthly. And actually, Cobra sent me a text message that many of them are waiting for the reopening of the borders so they can return. And so we got a strategy from the Yachting Association on how we can help develop that.
But hold your point, Minister. Let me get a call, please. Caller? Go ahead, please. Person's not there, but please go ahead, man.
And then the dive sector, Dominica is known as being in the top 10 dive sector in the world. So that's a great opportunity of growth for us. So we'll be having a more focus there. Wellness. We have our sulfur spas, yogas offered at different resorts. Our cuisine.
Now consultations, partnerships are very important in this period. Has the ministry been promoting partnerships and having consultations with the stakeholders?
Certainly. As I said, we have the tourism task force. Yeah. We had meetings with DHTA. We plan to have further consultations to present our plan for the sector going forward in the areas I mentioned. One of the key things.
So they're part of the of the rebranding and review of the marketing strategy for Dominica? The stakeholders are engaged?
Yes.
And the reopening of the borders as well?
Even in the reopening of the borders, as I said, they were very involved in the process, and they've given feedback on certain of the protocols that are too stringent, and we had to find other ways to accommodate, especially persons who own guest houses and other smaller properties. In terms of marketing strategies, as you brought it up, it's going to be important for us to rebrand the destination. The name Dominica is too hidden in our brand and in our logo, and we are working towards that very soon.
Phone call, please. Sorry, Dennis. Caller, please. Good night.
Yes, Prime Minister. I would like to know, you have a program in which you are asking your citizens to ask you various questions. However, you are choosing to block people from your
darling, please.
Why is that?
No, don't make an accusation that is not correct, darling. Please, don't do that. Today's Sunday of all days.
That's
please, no. No, that's
it's
not true.
It's not an accusation. It's
yeah, but it is a false.
People are not able to comment.
Yeah, but you can't stay away blocking, darling. That's not true at all. No. No, this is unfortunate comment you're making.
And people can't come to
No. Yeah, I think let's go, please.
Yes, PM. So, in terms of marketing, the key things for us, one is to increase our digital footprint. We have to do a lot of social media marketing, and so we're going to be working on that. We also came up with the concept of the Dominican National Abroad, who we can use as influencers to promote the destination. And so soon we'll be launching a survey to see people who are interested in becoming a Dominican ambassador for us. And the other aspect of it is that we're going to ensure that we can measure and monitor our investment. So when we market, to see the returns on that marketing strategy, and if we have to re-strategize, then we can do so. Because
the complaint from stakeholders is that the government has been leaving them out, or the ministry has been leaving them out of the consultation in terms of the marketing strategy and how do we spend the monies and where do we spend the monies. So I'm hoping that structure that you have put in place of continuous consultation can continue, because I believe it will certainly help us in spending money much more wisely than we have been spending where marketing is concerned.
Yes.
So I want to commend you for that. Now, the cruise sector. Sorry, phone call, please. Hello?
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night.
You would like to know about the same period software. The young people that play their sport.
Excuse me?
Thank you.
Sports?
Playing field. Which playing field is this, though?
Soufriere.
Soufriere playing field. Oh, okay. Right. At some point, we will get to answer the question.
Yes.
But regards to cruise tourism, I mean, cruise industry is a major source of employment for many Dominicans. This industry has been dramatically impacted. What is the approach we are taking where cruise tourism is concerned in light of COVID-19?
As you know, PM, cruise tourism is important for Dominica, because we have a lot of citizens who are employed either directly or indirectly, and who have lost their income during this period. Under the advice of UNDP, we are taking a regional approach in addressing the cruise lines. I have had several meetings with them. They're actually putting together a Caribbean task force that will be able to review the protocols that may have to be introduced for the reopening of the sector. These protocols, as obviously, would have to be approved by CDC, which they're actually finalizing right now. And then we are hoping that maybe in the last quarter of 2020.
And the CDC, the Center for Disease Control of the United States.
In the United States. Yeah. And so the cruise lines are working with them to finalize the protocols, and then they will take it to the Caribbean Task Force, and then we can review them and see how we go forth in rolling out those protocols. But we hope to see a bounce back in cruise travel in the last quarter of 2020.
Last quarter of 2020. Well,
yeah.
Let us hope so.
Yes.
Taking into consideration all the necessary protocols to protect both our citizens and, of course, the traveling public. Cruise. We have some great partners in the cruise industry, and we thank them for their partnership and understanding, and we look forward to working with them to resume activities as soon as things get back normal.
Yes.
So I thank you. Now, despite the downturn in the industry, we have seen a number of properties under construction. They never stopped building. As a matter of fact, some even took advantage of the downturn to ramp up construction. Have you been following these properties?
Oh, certainly, PM. For example, we have Jungle Bay, who really focus on constructing the second phase. They're hoping to add on about 60 rooms. So we'll have, by December, 89 rooms at Jungle Bay, which is fantastic for us in the tourism sector. You have Hilton, Tranquility Beach Resort, who has continued construction activities. They indicated that maybe in the last quarter or by March 2022, that hotel should be completed and opened. And you have Secret Bay, who has expanded their villas, and they're hoping by November to have 10 villas ready. And you have new projects coming on board, like Grand Anse, Timbos, Seaside in Roseau. Yeah. We're hoping that project can commence
and you also have the Marriott in Portsmouth that never stop construction.
Exactly, right. And so if all goes well with all the new projects and the existing projects, we hope to have total rooms, export-ready rooms, of over 800. And
I also see in my hiking that the ministry is also doing repairs to a number of the trails.
Yes, the trails are a big product for Dominica. As I said, one of the key focus for the ministry going forward, there are about 10 sites we continue premium in Dominica, and we are going to upgrade those sites to bring them to a certain standards. So the visitor experience will be a great one that they'll want to share, and so we'll have repeat visitors.
What I would like to see the Ministry of Tourism work on is really improving the amenities at those sites.
Yes.
You go to Tito Gorge, and the change rooms there really need to be a little bit more modern.
Right.
The washrooms. You go to Tito Gorge and you're inside there changing your clothes, and people can see your legs and they can see your head.
You're right.
So we need to improve on the quality and so forth, so that people, when you come from a nice bath, you need to be able to dress properly and go home and no need to bathe again when you get home.
We have to set standards.
Yeah, so I would like to see an improvement to that, and whatever the Ministry of Finance can do to assist with that, we're more than willing to do so.
I'm so happy to hear that. That brings music to my ears, PM.
But we want to thank the developers for their efforts. I mean, we know that they're having some difficulties, but the commitment is certainly there, and I really appreciate it. And whatever we can do together with them, we need to do so. We after the devastation of Hurricane Maria, we developed some new marketing strategies. Now with COVID, is the ministry looking at its marketing strategies, its branding?
As I said earlier, PM, we have to go on the massive rebranding of the destination. Despite the amount of monies we have invested in marketing Dominica, you'll still find people saying they don't know where Dominica is. So we think that, like other destinations, will market their name. So when you go, you see Jamaica printed boldly. You see Antigua and Barbuda. You see Barbados. We have to market Dominica name so people can get connected to the name Dominica. And we are looking at different riders for like Dominica Nature's Island or Naturally Unique. But we'll be doing surveys to get a feedback from the public on what they think will be the best logo for the island. As I said, our social media presence, our campaigns with a more focus, not just on the backpack tourists, which has been a big focus for us because we've been promoting adventure tourism and the hikes, which are still a great product.
But do you think we're taking sufficient advantage of the regional market though? I mean, a US dollar from the United States as compared to a US dollar from Trinidad is the same US dollar. And I believe that we need to spend more time marketing our country in Trinidad and in Barbados and the USVI and BVI, and I'm hoping that with the possibility of increased flights, we can certainly see more people coming there. But the Caribbean is a major source market for Dominica. Guadeloupe, Martinique, between Guadeloupe and Martinique, you have close to 1 million people.
Interesting that you brought that up, because 50% of our tourism is regional.
Yeah.
That's
So really, I mean,
So we have
we can
to
take it up.
focus.
We can take it up to 70. I mean,
Yeah.
tourism
Yes.
is tourism, where you come from.
yes.
We just need the money, and lots of it too. You know.
Yes.
Well, good news there taking place with regards to some of the exciting plans and programs there. Now, in respect to, there's a question there. Good night from WhatsApp. Please, can we have information on ports that is Express the Zeal from St. Lucia openings? What I want to know when I can make plans to travel. We no longer have LIAT. What is in place and the timelines? We are working on this. I believe we may allow Express the Zeal to come in August. You know, it is not only Dominica ports opening, but also the arrangements in the French territory of Guadeloupe and Martinique. They have their own protocols, they have their own systems. And I believe once they address theirs and we address ours, but I believe all goes well. I'm looking at August. I can't tell you precisely what date in August, but certainly in the month of August. A phone call, please. Hello?
Yes, good evening.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, yes. Now, persons have been calling me from Texas and from Chicago. They want to come, Dominicans living abroad. They want to travel to Dominica next week. Government indicated that on Wednesday next week, this week that is, the ports will be open. The minister mentioned recently that a number of airlines were giving that indication to operate on Dominica. Can you give us an update in terms of, whether we have any airlines to start soon so that people can go in and out of Dominica? Thank you very much. And of course, the minister gave some good insights last Friday on the whole protocol for entry. So that is in good stead. But give us an update in terms of the airline and how soon persons can come in and out. And
Thank you. Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Minister Charles, you want to take a question or you want me to answer it? You go, and wherever you fall short, I'll fill the gaps there.
In terms of air access into Dominica, with the challenges going on with LIAT right now, we have Seaborn Silver Airlines that will be having weekly flights into Dominica. So you're free to go on Silver Airline website and see the different flights they have available to come to Dominica. We also have a proposal from Caribbean Airlines. They actually submitted their request for license, which we hopefully will approve this week. And so we are hoping that we'll be able to get either direct flight from Trinidad or through Barbados to come to Dominica. You also have the option of Inter-Caribbean, and we're also looking at proposal from One Caribbean that hasn't been finalized. Air Antilles through St. Martin, you can get to Dominica. And so we'll be announcing soon the various ways which you can come to the country. So hopefully we can have that advertised so you can clearly know how to access. In terms of the
also
ferry,
the protocols as well. The protocols, yes. the pre-arrival protocols. You must have a negative PCR test that would have taken between 24 to 72 hours prior to arrival. So you must have a negative PCR test. Now, if your PCR test comes back positive, our advice to you is to stay where you are and seek medical care. The airline will allow you to come on the plane, so stay where you are, get well, and then you can fly to Dominica. When you arrive in Dominica, you will be subjected. You must wear a face mask. You will be sanitized. You will be screened, temperature screening. If you test 98 degrees or higher, you will be set aside and you will be further examined, and at that point you'll be subjected to quarantine procedures, and you'll be subjected to a PCR test. Now, otherwise, if your temperature is less than 98, then you will be subjected to a rapid test. You'll be charged a little $5 US. It can hurt you for your own good, for your family good. The test is more expensive than that, but just for a little so we can. It's not a revenue generating matter, but it's a contribution towards the cost of providing that service. And of course, we'll outline on the government website and the public media all of the necessary protocols. But that'll give you an insight as to what is expected. So you need to check where you are. If you're in Atlanta, where in Atlanta they will subject you to a PCR test. Where can you get a PCR test done? So this is what we're encouraging. It is for your safety, it's for the safety of your families, it's for the safety of all Dominicans. And maybe towards the end of the program, I will speak a little bit more on the reopening of our country and how cautious we have to be and how cautious we have been as a government in respect to reopening. But very, very important question, my brother.
Now, one thing I wanted to add is the online questionnaire.
Is an online questionnaire?
Yeah, that
you must fill out.
Yes, that Dominican nationals or non-nationals will be required to fill.
Yeah.
It will be available on the government website, on DDA website, and so you have to go through that and answer it as complete as possible, and you'll have the opportunity to also upload your negative PCR test.
No, you will call him Dennis or Honorable Chadwick, because some of the ministers get a little bit, they like to be called Honorable Minister. I don't know, for me it's just Skerrit, I don't know, but so which one is good for you? Dennis
is fine, it's my name.
Oh, okay. All right, so what about the festivals? I mean, we have Creole Festival coming in very soon.
Yes.
What is the position of the government in respect to the Creole Festival?
So Didi had a consultation with stakeholders recently on that, and the feedback given that they felt it would be challenging to host World Creole Music Festival this year, but we should consider a fringe event. So we are finalizing that so we could have some proposals on what sort of fringe event we can have. There are some ideas to do a mini festival having local bands, and we'll be able to invite our sister islands like Guadeloupe, St. Lucia and Martinique, who normally give us support, or the concept of Creole in the city. So there are a few concepts that we're floating around, and we're hoping to have a proposal soon. Okay,
well, but my only caution is that let's be careful with these fringe activities, that we don't end up saying no festival and then end up having a festival that may be bigger than the festival itself. But I'll wait to see the proposal from Minister of Tourism. I have not seen it, so I will wait to see it and so on. But a question, call is there? No? No, the other thing that then is in respect to the cleanup of the country, I see that finally the government is removing all these derelict vehicles across Dominica, and I want to commend the efforts of our Minister Frederick, Cozier Frederick, who has been really leading the charge, and I want to commend him for his leadership in there. But this is a matter that places an eyesore and robs us of our true image as a nature isle.
BM, I want to make the point this evening, that in order for us to become the best destination in the region, tourism has to be everybody's business. For example, I saw a post on Facebook where somebody said, I saw a dead dog in the road. Who is going to pick it up? We have to reach the level as a nation that this is our bread and butter. It's one of the pillars that bring great revenue into the country, and everybody has to get involved. So if you see a dead dog and you can remove it, remove it.
Just one second. Caller, please, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, but I'm not, they're not hearing my call.
Go ahead, please, go ahead. We're listening.
Yeah, I just wanted to address a question to good afternoon, good evening, Prime Minister.
Yeah, good evening to you, my friend.
I'd like to address a question to the Minister of Tourism.
Sure, go ahead.
In relation to social distancing for the sites. Hello?
Yes, sir, go ahead. We're listening to you.
In relation to the social distancing for the site, do you have a plan in place, for example, like you have an area?
So in terms of preparations for site visits, we have to have a consultation with tour operators, because what we'll be doing is there'll be a limited number of people that can access the site at any given time. We'll have sanitization machines there where you have to sanitize. And so there are a whole list of protocols. What I would advise is that you contact DDA, where they can actually provide you with the list of protocols if you're a tour operator or you need information on site preparation.
So this is on the government website, on DDA's website?
DDA website, and you can also visit DDA office. They'll give you the brochure.
Okay. Okay. That's in respect all of the
all
our
social distancing. Social distancing, physical distancing, the number of guests that will be allowed at any given time at a site.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Minister. We thank you for being with us. Any final words to your stakeholders?
PM, what I really want to say is that tourism, as I said, is everybody's business. In order for us to be successful, in order for us to become the best in the region, we have to practice responsible tourism, keeping the balance between economics and preserving our natural environment. And it is so important for everybody in the nation to promote good images about our country, to keep our country clean, and for us to share our experiences with the rest of the world. So I believe we can do those things, and with the investment the government is making in terms of the new cruise port, and we did not get to speak about that, the international airport, and the number of visitors we expect to visit our shores, Dominica will achieve its goal of becoming the best nature island in the Caribbean.
And as we see, we see more and more Dominicans are enjoying Dominica.
Yes.
We've seen many tours.
Yes.
People going to the various sites.
Yes.
And so there's a greater awareness of the sites, there's greater awareness of what Dominica has to offer. People are flocking into Calibishi, into Purple Turtle, into they go to La Plaine, they go to Grand Bay, they go to Scott's Head. There's this Cold Soufre.
Yes.
And
Bubble Beach
Cold
Spa.
Soufre is the only cold spring in Dominica, in Penville, in the Vegas constituency.
Yes.
So you visit there, we also have the Barneff Waterfall, which is an amazing waterfall. I don't want to describe it to you, you have to go there and see for yourself. And then we have the OPAC Bay facility, and then we have O2, where we film Pirates of the Caribbean. So
beautiful.
I see a lot of you drive for vehicles and so on, which is good, but stop, spend some money in the shops and the bars in my constituency when you go there. But thank you very much, Minister. I wish you all the best, and all the best on the constituency level and the ministry level. I want to say to you, I am grateful for the leadership that you're showing, not only at the ministry, but broadly speaking, the government. You were part of many cabinet subcommittees, and so I'm appreciative of that and so on. But my commendation should not allow you to become complacent and go home and say, okay, well, Skerrit, say I'm doing a good job and I can go and sleep for the rest of the term. It means that you have to work even harder. So if you work in 12 hours, you have to increase it to 18. Thank you very much. Good night. Nice to have you. Thanks for accepting my invitation to be on Anupali. We'll take a break and we will come back to you shortly. Thank you very much.
I'm Reginald Eli. I farm here at Glasgow. That's above the Font Collet. I've had the land for over 40-something years. I purchased it in 1976. Presently, we do mainly vegetables and livestock, poultry, to be more exact. Under the vegetables, we do quite a bit of it in the greenhouse, which we are under right now. And at one time, we did mainly lettuce. We've done it in boxes above the ground, simply again because we saw into the future in that. We're trying to avoid having to bend down on the regular beds. And secondly, another advantage of the boxes, the fact that they're raised, you can have them wider. And as a result of that, you have less footpaths, so you're planting more area than the normal thing. From after Maria, we got some damages with the greenhouse, and we haven't really got fully in gear with it. Because at one time we used to put out about 800 heads a week. What another thing we did, again, we started that about 20 years ago. We had gone into exotic fruits, and we had a variety of about 48 imported fruits. And well, Maria took its toll on that one. And I bargained for the bigger tools, like the brush cutter, the earth auger, chainsaw. So all of them can't come to mind, but basically I focus on the heavy tools. So basically this is what our life in Glasgow is right now, and I hope that in the near future we can really pick up the momentum we'd like to and carry on. And I can interject here with the presence of the World Bank. That gives you the encouragement, and I hope the impetus will come in later on.
Welcome back. My next guests are two gentlemen who are in the same line of business. They stand out because of the enthusiasm of Dominica and the work they have done in their own right to promote the destination to both locals and visitors. With me are two tour operators, Dorian Shy Guy James and Shepherd Sheppy Fridges. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
You want me to call you Sheppy?
Yeah, you can call me
You call me
Sheppy.
Shy Guy.
Shy Guy.
Yeah, man.
That is your business names?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good. So Sheppy, you're from Point Michel?
Yeah, man.
How is Ayel and my Auntie Teresa and Erica?
Well, my mother is in the States right now, but
Yeah.
she's wishing that basically she could have been down here.
Yeah.
My father is all right.
Yeah.
My sister is okay, and I
But
guess everyone is looking.
Your father was a big boss fella, you know, he's
Yeah.
still boss there, you know. You see, if I'll speak, man, you have to listen there.
Yeah,
But tell us about you. I mean, you're in this tourism business.
Yeah, well, actually, I grew up in this business, you know, and I was trained, I was groomed from little boy, you know. I mean, you have little Sheppy, the little Sheppy tour guide running around. Well, doing all his little hiking and his swimming and stuff, you know, with one of the best taxi operators on the island, which is my father, Israel Ayel Fridges, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in growing up, you know, I realized, okay, well, that is something I enjoy doing, that is something I like. Well, I won't say like, but love, big time, you know, and I mean, whenever I go out there, I can tell you, it's like most times, you know, the people themselves just tell me, Sheppy boy, I suspect you're enjoying it more than the people themselves, you know. Yeah, because, you know, it's like, it's in me, you know, and what really pushes me is that once you're happy, I'm happy, and my aim is to make you happy. And once you're not happy, then, you know what I mean, it's like, I make the work more difficult, you know, to get myself to make you happy, but it's like the spirit I come there with is basically to get you guys going and keep you smiling from the start to the end, you know?
That's good. But thank you. Shy Guy?
Yeah.
I remember you at grammar school.
Yeah, man.
You know, you were schoolmate, not classmate of mine, but a schoolmate of mine. I was ahead of you. I was your head boy there.
Yes, my head boy, yeah.
And one of my memories of you at the grammar school was that I recall you coming to me for advice on which subjects you should choose to sit at the CXC. And I knew that you could draw well. You're a good artist.
Yeah.
You still draw and so?
But not really.
Not really?
Not really.
But you should continue this. You should get back to it.
Yeah.
So he asked me, you know, what should I do? Should I do art at CXC or history at CXC? So I asked him, can you draw? Yes. I said, well, you'll always be able to draw. So go ahead and do history.
Yeah.
And you end up getting a two at CXC.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember you very well at a grammar school. So tell us about you. I mean,
well,
I knew you as a bus driver.
Yeah, man.
And now you're a big man in the tourism business.
I wouldn't say big man, not big man yet.
But you're on your way.
But I'm on my way. On my way. As opposed to my partnership, I didn't grow up in the tourism business.
Yeah.
Because my dad, you know my dad very well. My dad is really James from
Of course.
You know? So I more grew up now helping my dad on the farm, especially during the summertime from going grammar school. You know what? How I end up in the tourism sector is really by looking at the cruise ships coming there while I run in buses, really and truly. And one day, the person who really brought me into tourism itself is Marshall Durant. Yeah, I remember I asked him a day, I tell him, bring me Fino, man, to do a little tour, let me just see how it's going on now. You know, he tell me, you sure? I tell him, yeah, because at that time now, he did not like certification. He did not discover Dominica certifying people to really be in that business, you know. It wasn't a big business yet. And he said to me, you sure? I said, yeah, man. And he brought me about twice. I listened to him well. But I remember the first time I did a tour on my own, man, I was nervous like a rat. Trust me. I was really nervous. But you know, when you start doing something, then you start getting better on it, and then you start feeling more comfortable. Like you remember when you just came in as past Prime Minister, you were speaking kind of I remember that, you know. No, you speak very fluently. You know what I'm saying?
I used to stammer.
Yeah, you stammer. I remember that, you know. But now you get accustomed to it, so it's the same thing, man. So now I just pushing and I ain't gonna stop.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
Now, COVID hit us, and you guys have created a niche for yourself. You carved out a niche in the country, within the tourism business, as tour operators. Now, Sheppy, how did the Know Your Island Mega Tour come about? Because that's what you promote your business.
Yes. Well, actually, me and my partners me and some of my partners, we were having a convo at a bar. And certain questions I asked them, I realized, okay, you know what, I'm going to run a mini survey. So I did a mini survey, outside the bar. And then I realized now, we have a lot of Dominicans that living in Dominica that don't know Dominica. So that's when, the idea of Know Your Island Mega Tour came about, and I say, you know what, that is something I'm gonna start. And then I made it like an event, to get people to know Dominica, not in just, a normal tour where you go and tell them, well, okay, this is Monte Wapito and this is this. In a fun party, very, very informative type of way. So it's like we would go out there and have a good time and stop at the different sites, take pictures, swim, and and do stuff. So this is how it started. And when I did Volume 1, I labeled it Volume 1. And I got a real good response. When I did Volume 2, it was epic. And right now, Volume 3 is basically on its way, So this is how Know Your Island Mega to come about. It's like a project that was basically focused in getting Dominicans to come out, And I know Dominicans, they like party and stuff like that. So I did it in a party type of way, to get them to come out, to leave their homes and go and see what Dominica basically is all about. And right now I see things happening now where a lot of people is leaving their house now and going to the different places, like what you said earlier on, the different places like Jacko Falls and Spani and Colsofoye and places like that, So this is how the Know Your Island Mega Tour came out, and that's why it was created, to get people out of their homes, to go out there, to see stuff, do stuff. Every week people working Mondays to Friday, 8 to 4, very, very hard. So I was checking, I trying to find a way to get them out,
So it's throughout the week or weekdays, weekends?
Well, the Know Your Island Mega Tour is an event, but because of that, then what really happened to me now, because of the first event, then you have a lot of people that decided, okay, they want to do it via their own groups.
Okay.
So people start to select their groups, and companies start to call me, and it goes as far as where a company called me and tell me, Sheppy, every year we having Christmas dinners. This year, we want to do a Sheppy Fun Tour with you instead of the Christmas dinner. And I smiled when I heard that. I said, okay.
That's great.
And then when everything was done, they told me, expect them every Christmas. Because that, is like, the experience was different. Excellent. You go there, you have fun, trust me, it was just different.
So Shy Guy, you also specialize in fun tours. How did you branch out into the fun tour program?
Well, right now I haven't, to be honest with you. Because Sheppy started his mega tour before COVID-19. So he just continue with it.
Okay.
For me right now, I trying to see if I can get, because I'm not the person that like to follow fashion, so to say. I always like to think a little different, So what I'm trying to do now is try to see if I could get the people now that want a more family-oriented tour, because you have people that have their kids, would like to go out with their kids and stuff like that. So I said to myself, okay, since Sheppy already have the young people, so to speak, I need to start concentrating now on the people that want to have a more family-oriented tour.
Senior citizens.
Like senior citizens,
children.
Well, and there's young people that still want that type of tour too, if you understand. Because you might surprise to see I do it like that and the type of people I get, but I want to more focus on on the family-oriented tours, to be honest. Because the thing is that from COVID-19, I've not worked yet. I've never worked yet from COVID-19. From the second week in March, I've never worked till like right now I'm speaking to you.
That's in regards to cruise tourism.
Cruise tourism, because remember I do a lot of cruise. Cruise. Yeah, cruise and the French, the ferry. Yeah. That's my two main, especially the French. I really starting to dominate. See Guadeloupe and Martinique, I really starting to dominate Guadeloupe and Martinique. Because I speak the Creole very well. I'm back on
of course.
Check me,
of course. Right. So this is why you're trying to have this local.
Yes, so that's yes. That's why I'm trying to see if I can
bridge the gap.
To bridge the gap, because I try to bridge the gap. You see, when your back is against the wall, sometimes you have to go back to what you know. Remember, I used to be a bus driver.
That's right.
So I realized, okay, shy guy, the tourist thing cannot work now. So I try to go back to what I know. But what happened is that now, because there is so many buses on the road, and the honest truth is, I don't see myself as a bus driver. It's okay if I call you my brother, because we like to use that word, my brother.
That's right. That's fine.
I really
that's fine.
Don't see myself again as a bus driver. So I try to go on the road to make something, because I live in on what I put aside from since March, but it is just not working. So sometimes I just check in money. I go back at my home. So I rather go at home, to be honest, and put gas in my bus, in my car, whatever, and go to the forest, make a video, because I have lots of people depending. Even if you see tourists not coming to Dominica right now as we speak, I have so much people depending on me out there to bring them videos of Dominica, because they told me, shy guy boy, you have no idea what those videos doing for us. Yeah? They're encouraging us, because remember, we're in Dominica. Dominica is a place where we're different as to oppose out there where the people now, they lock the ones when they was locked down and stuff like that. So I have to find a way to go out there and still bring Dominica to my people.
Yeah. Yeah? So, but what about the island that excites you though?
Let me tell you something.
Because you have great passion. You know.
Let me tell you, see, I choose to be Dominica. I have a 10 years visa. Because of my work, I meet lots of people that give me nice offers. I choose to be Dominica because I love Dominica. For me, Dominica is a special place. What really excites me about Dominica is the fact that I can just get up, drive for 15 minutes, and I'm in a river. I drive for half an hour at a waterfall. And Dominica itself, I don't know, I always tell people that, and because we're busy with work, we don't take the time out. But Dominica itself is a therapy. You can be going through a stressful situation, and you can leave your home and go take a bath in the waterfall, or just go relax at Screws or Tears, one of them places. And that alone can just be a therapy for you, because Dominica is not, even though we have our little problem in Dominica, there is no place. My brother, when I carry in tourists, when I'm a tourist, nothing makes me feel better when a tourist says, oh my God, to a husband or wife, oh my God, honey, this island is so beautiful. We've never seen that before. You know, that makes me feel. And to be honest with you, tourists cause me to appreciate Dominica more. Because sometimes you find people give you their stories. And when people give you stories of where they live in and how it is for them, and you see where you live in paradise. I mean, it just can't be better than that.
Well, you know, left to me, I would have ended the program on that point. You know, yeah.
Trust me, man.
Yeah. Very encouraging.
Yeah, man. Dominica is a special place.
Shebi, what about you? What excites you about the country? Our country?
Well, I mean, as my partner Shy Guy said a while ago, is like going out there, and it's like you can do the same thing every day, and it's like you're always looking forward in doing it, in basically doing it again. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, I would be doing like tours like every weekend, going to the same sites, and it's like every time I get to that site, it's like I could be there today and come back tomorrow, and it's like it still hits me like, boy, Dominica, really nice in a way. You know what I mean? So, I mean, for me, it's like everything it's like basically everything natural about the country, like visiting the falls and the sulfur springs, the rainforest, stopping, showing people what is it like living in Dominica, taking photos, creating that type of memory, and stuff like that. That pleases me about Dominica because, as you rightly said a while ago, in my whole life I've been living, I've never in my life seen what they call cold Sophia. And when I go up there for my first time and I see the water like bubbling, I check in, boy, why they saying that water cold? You check, because most things you see bubbling, it's like, it's hot.
Yeah.
And everywhere in the Caribbean you go, you'll see hot Sophia, but I'm St. Lucia, Sophia, but I want to put money in that check in, I can't believe that. So Dominica is just a unique place, and unique in a very, very good way.
Yeah. Now, what are your long-term goals? And sorry, a phone call. Hello, hi. Hello. Okay, I think we have missed the call. Now, what are your long-term goals, and how do you see yourselves growing and expanding within the industry?
Me, basically, my long-term goal, I dream big, because every businessman I know starts small. My goal really is to be the face of Dominica in terms of tours. I want for somebody in Miami to stay in Miami and say, boy, you know something? I'm going to Dominica. And the next thing that have to come out of his mouth is, let me contact Shy Guy. Shy Guy Tours. That is really my goal. Now, how do I achieve that? I have to just, if I stay on the path that I own, I personally believe I can achieve that goal with the help of the government,
Well, how do you mentioned government, we're speaking there, what are some of the things you think government can do to help people like you, achieve your goal? You have the natural talent, you have the commitment, you have the enthusiasm, you have the motivation. All of these things come from within you.
Yeah.
What kind of actions do you think the government could take to help you realize your goal?
One of the things I would really like the government to really do is to assist the tour operator in terms of duty-free concession. Like when I say duty-free, I mean like real duty-free.
Something similar to what we do for agriculture?
Yes, farmers. I really...
Because the farmers now, they enjoy duty-free, so no import duty.
Yes.
And also no excise tax.
Okay, so what is that?
The VAT is, they do pay the VAT.
They do pay the VAT.
Yeah, but excise tax is 28%.
Okay.
And import duty on a vehicle like it might be what 10 or 20%. So you would recommend that?
I would recommend a serious duty-free that would, because, like for example, like me.
But for tour operators, you're talking about people like yourself.
For tour operators, because you see, for me to carry out my service,
you need proper.
I need proper tools. For me to continue with that confidence I have going, I need to know that my machine to work is up to date and is.
And so you'll be subjected. You would benefit every 5 years for a new vehicle.
Something like that.
Yeah. So you're talking about all taxes.
All tour operators.
Well, basically, what you don't want is, if we're looking at what they call quality. Yeah. Quality doesn't really fall in the thing of the hotel industry and so on. If you're talking about quality, tourism quality right across the board, then you wouldn't want, for example, somebody is at Fort Young or something like that, and when they call Sheppy, and tell Sheppy, they would like a taxi to take them out tomorrow morning, and they live in one of the most expensive rooms at Fort Young, and they call Sheppy to do a tour next day, and next morning, I come and I park outside, and the person come outside, with their kids, and looking well bourgeois, well sharp and everything, and it's like the person come and see a raggedy bus outside there with some big patch and so on, and getting ready to go to a spray shop and so on. That on a whole would just bring down the person's shoulder, because I have seen tourists reject buses because of their physical condition.
So, I mean, I'm coming out, the budget's coming soon. I'm still working on my budget speech. So you're saying that we need to differentiate and set aside tour operators in a separate category.
In a separate category, yes.
And then we would subject these people to certain benefits.
Yes.
Waiving
That's
the import
correct.
duties and the other VAT and the excise tax.
Yeah.
On
Because
That's correct.
Because the thing is, if we have a good vehicle, if we have a good, like I remember your last budget, you had give us duty free on the I think the 29 seaters.
Yeah, the bigger buses.
Bigger buses.
Yeah.
The thing is that now we cannot really access or buy the bigger buses because we do not have the volume of people coming in here.
Okay.
You know, so in time to come, if we continue the path that we on, with the tour operators together, if you, the government, the tourism minister, so if we continue on the path we on, we can get the volume of visitors to come to the island. Hence, then I will be able to say, okay, you know what, I better 29 seater, I get enough.
And then we have for agriculture FA. We would have a special designation.
So then you could probably have a special plate. Now for us taxi drivers saying probably TX or DX, could be Dominica taxi or DT or something like that.
You see, I mean, if Dominica is unique, and we want to move
One
away.
second, Sheppy. We have a call there. Hello?
Good evening.
Hi, go ahead, please.
I'd like to commend Shell Guy for doing a good job. I've been to Guadeloupe a couple of times, and quite a number of people have talk about him. So he's doing a real good job in business.
Sure.
As far as the buses are concerned, he has buses that are recommended now are the 26-seater buses, which cost over close to $200,000. And when you have to pay duty on those things and excise tax, and that, it's a big investment. If any other government can help in removing those taxes, it will help the top business. And not just buses. If somebody wants to bring in something like what the Prime Minister lives in, you know, to do executive tours with the people coming to the new hotels we are building, that will also help. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. And so these concessions will be on new buses or?
Well,
I would already say new buses, you know, because
we should have an age limit.
We
like a 5-year-old.
Like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, because the 5-year-old vehicles tend to be very expensive too, you know.
Yes,
And now the 29-seater, that is what they normally call, like, well, the Toyota. That's what they call a coaster.
Coaster,
And a 5-year-old coaster is like a brand new coaster, and that is very expensive. It is. You can actually compare it to the price of a new one.
Okay.
You understand? So I don't think. I mean, I don't think, you know, that is so much of attractive rate for the taxi men. I mean, I would really like to see something like you put out there, and then that will just everybody draw, and fellas will just agree, you know what, try to sell the old jalopy and so on, and just run and grab it, because I know it have a lot of taxi men out there that looking forward.
And would you recommend that it should be in place for a particular period of time?
Well, I think that is where Discover Dominica would come into play. When, I mean, because every year you have to certify a vehicle. They would come to inspect the vehicle first. So then Discover Dominica will tell you, okay, you see that vehicle? That is a no-no, that is an X. So you need to get something else. So now with the pricing of the new vehicles, a normal taxi operator or a normal taxi operator would see it fit to just maybe even strip that one, or try to sell that one chip to go on the road or something like that, and run. Because again, as I tell you, I mean, if we're promoting quality, then we have to look at quality right across the board. You know what I mean? And you don't want to go on at all. Next thing, by the time you reach Pocassi, your vehicle overheat, you break down, and then got people on your bus and so on.
But I've taken note of this recommendation. The acting financial secretary is watching this program as well, and she would have taken note, so we can have a conversation as early as tomorrow on this matter. Now, what other actions do you think the government could take to improve the product in the country? You know,
there is a problem I have in terms of the French. If you, I don't know if you have any. If you watch my videos, when I do my videos, I always mention Guadeloupe Matney. Always, because the reason why I mention these people, because I remember when I started Chagai Dominicatos, they were the first set of people that really take me from the ground. They start patronizing me. We lose a lot of French visitors coming to Dominica, and we lose them to Saint Lucia. Now I always in Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe is literally my second home. In doing my survey in Guadeloupe, what I realize is the tax, the head tax to go back when the French come here, it is too high. Allow me to say it is too high. Probably not in a position to say this.
No, that's fine.
But allow me to say it's too high because tourists are people that phony. If a tourist can save $1 from there to there,
you're right.
For me and you, which I know nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
You will not believe the tourists will go all the way when they come back and to save $1. Yeah. That's just how tourists are. So what you find in the French now is that they start running now to St. Lucia because the head tax in St. Lucia is just about $33. But here now is $80-something. Now, apart from the head tax, here now, what you find the other problem which making it a bigger problem for them now is they cannot swipe their card to pay the head tax. That's a big problem.
So that's the main problem.
French people do really use
cash.
They don't really like cash. All their thing is swipe. They buy a Coke, they swipe it. That I believe if we can again planning to open the borders, if we can drop that,
we can look at that
to kind of attract.
Well, there's a discussion, regional discussion at CARICOM level to get countries within the Caribbean, because we know we're pushing a CARICOM bubble. Okay. And there's a recommendation from the CARICOM heads that we should look at reducing our head tax in respect to CARICOM nationals traveling. So we can take note of this French issue. Okay. Sunday, no. Shefi, what about you? What recommendations do you have for the government to further improvement?
Well, what I would like to see in Dominica is, what for the government to do in Dominica basically is, we have some sites that have a lot of potential, but then the way they're being used, things can be better. For example, Trafalgar Falls, that is one of our main sites.
Premier site there.
Right. Now, getting to Trafalgar on the trail is very, very easy. But once you get to the viewpoint, Trafalgar to me is one of the only waterfalls I see that have a hot spring in the base.
In the base,
Now, that waterfalls now, you have a hot spring in the base, and still on the second one you have a big pool.
Access to this difficult.
Access, because since
how do you fix that? Because you have some massive rocks there.
Yeah, that's it.
If you tamper with them, what happens? They make cascade.
Well, all you have to do is talk to somebody some kind of an engineer that can think of like some kind of a creative way in getting easy access to the hot springs and to the other falls. Because if you really want to enjoy the falls, then you would want to take a hot spring bath, or
I agree for entirely.
Or go to the pool.
That's one of the better waterfalls in the country.
Yes, that is one. Secondly, my other thing is security at certain sites. I would like to see that basically upgrade. For example, one of my main issues is Syndicate Trail. Seeing that it's very, very, very far away from the public or from the village. Anything can happen up there. And I would really need to see, I don't know, or they can either have security there physically, or set up some, some kind of cameras and so on and so on and so on to have the place up there secured and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. So I would really like to see improvements on those sites. So far they have done a very good job in Spani. Yes, Spani is perfect. Spani is excellent, and at Emerald Pool too. And so on. I would really like to see that continue. Yeah. But one of my main things is the Trafalgar Falls, it get into the hot water and the other pool.
I agree with you entirely. I know that. Yeah. I know we've had discussions on this.
Another thing in that same realm is wheelchair access. Because you see when you cater for disabled people, it is a big plus. Very, 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 very big plus. So if we could try to make a way, especially when it comes to Trafalgar, that somebody on a wheelchair or the electric chair could reach at least the platform.
The viewpoint.
Yeah, can reach the viewpoint. That would be a
Right.
big plus.
My view is that I know sometimes we in Dominica we're trying to maintain the original state of the facilities.
Stuff,
yeah. But I think that we have to find a balance between the nature and mechanization.
Yeah.
You know, we need to look at it when we talk about Trafalgar Falls, the issue of an escalator up to the trail.
Up to the trail,
You know, that could certainly enhance not only people with disabilities, but the senior citizens who want, people
exactly,
maybe who kind of walk up the trail and so on. So it's something I think we need to look at going forward and have discussions among stakeholders. But I really want to. I promise you, I will partake in one of your tours.
Yeah,
I'll arrange you.
That'd be nice. I would like to give you a tour.
No, I will certainly come.
Yeah,
at some point. You know,
I would like to give you a tour and let you feel Dominica.
I will certainly come. But
go ahead. It have one thing I want to send out there to Dominicans that I'm doing a lot of tours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We are considered the inner child of the Caribbean. Please, let's try to live it that way, because what you have now, you have a lot of people going out, that basically pleases me, you know what I mean? But when you get to these sites, whatever you come there with, take it and go back.
Yeah.
Because, what that's happening right now is you will have them going to places like Red Rock or down to the Emerald Pool and certain sites. And whatever they go down there with, their glasses, their bottles, their whatever, they live in it there. And that makes it kind of difficult, difficult and unsightly for people that's coming after, and for the people who's running the place also. Because not too long ago I went to Jacko and I had to talk to the lady, and then I went to Spani and I had to talk to them and tell them, I tell them, now and then, maybe every Monday, find yourself down there by the site, because you have a big group of people coming in every weekend. So every Monday or Tuesday, find yourself down there and check it out and and see what's happening. But yes, I would really like them to be responsible when they visit the site. Whatever they come with, go back with it. Take pictures, leave footprints, and go back with everything all they come with.
Yeah, thank you. What about you, Shy Guy?
Something I would like to see done. Like, I don't take out bread in anybody mouth, I know you take out bread in anybody mouth. But something that we have to take serious when it comes to tourism is making sure that the people who are involved, like the tour operators, are certified. Like, you have some non-certified people.
But sometimes people resist.
Yes,
this thing,
yes. That's why I tell you. That's why I tell you, I do not want to take out bread in somebody's mouth.
But this thing is important, because if we're not certified, we're not trained, we're not knowledgeable. A man sees a breadfruit tree, tell him it's an tree.
That is what I was coming to. That is what I was coming to. It's not even about you going to make money, It's about something happening with the tourists while you have the tourism, because you're not trained. You don't know how to handle the situation, and then the tourist is not going to say, is this person, the tourist is going to say
Dominica
taxi drivers.
Yeah, Dominica,
And that can give us that can just throw us down, because the tourism industry is extremely fragile.
Yep.
Especially see with the COVID-19 now. Remember, every country now in the Caribbean going to see how they can bring tourists into their island.
So
we now have to know what we're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate very much. I think it has been a wonderful engagement of yourself. Yeah. I am particularly encouraged that you're two very young men, and who are positive role models there, who are entrepreneurs, who are positive about Dominica, and I think with people like yourself, the future of the country is assured. And I wish you all the best, and I'm hoping that other young people can emulate you in whatever business they are in, wherever they work. We can all have that kind of positive reflection and intimation about our country, because at the end of the day, we are all ambassadors. And we should use our access to social media, because both of you are very heavily involved in social media, and all of the videos I've seen, all of the postings I've seen from both of you on social media are all positive. And I think if all of us who are on social media can commit to this, then we already have an advantage over the rest in terms of our natural environment and the sites. What we need is to ensure that we are welcoming people and that we respect and appreciate the tourists coming in and visitors to our country. But with people like yourself, I believe that the Ministry of Tourism, I'm hoping that they can take advantage of your thoughts and your expressions and your suggestions. And I'm really hoping that the Ministry of Tourism can consider the appointment of two of you as tourism ambassadors. You know, who can really promote, promote. Because you have great connections in Guadeloupe. I mean, you guys are positive. You speak very well. You're very articulate. You know, I think you guys could be able to do a fantastic job going out there and really telling potential visitors about Dominica and promoting Dominica. So I will certainly make a strong recommendation to that for that.
Yeah, do that.
To have both of you appointed as tourism ambassadors, and from time to time have you guys travel as part of the marketing team, so that we can people who are really involved in the enterprise. So consider this done. No. I will certainly have the cabinet appoint you both of you as tourism ambassadors and ensure that you form part of the formal structure of the tourism industry. I'm really touched by your contributions. I've taken note of the concerns that you've raised. I also taken note of the suggestions that you've made in respect to how you believe the government can assist you in really achieving your goals. I think that some of the recommendations you've made are reasonable. You know, nothing out of this world. And I look forward to continue working with you. But I'm very happy that you have accepted my invitation to be here.
I'm very happy.
Part of this program is to promote the positive things happening in the country, and to not only speak about what government is doing, but what the people of Dominica are doing to build Dominica, to build themselves, and to grow the economy, create jobs, and really take advantage of what the good Lord has given to us. Very happy for this, and I want to thank you. Of course, I know both of you in different capacities, in different ways, and I really want to thank you for this. Words really can't express my high views of both of you, and I know there are many other Dominicans like you, and I think it's important for us to reach out to them and to promote them and to let people know what they're doing, because sometimes we hear so many negative things about young people, and I think there are a lot of young people who are doing constructive things for themselves, for the country, for their families, and I think we need to highlight this. Let us focus more on the positive, and those who are not positive can become positive because we're focusing on the positive. If we focus on the negative, then people are going to want to be negative because that's how you can get attention. You know, so I think we need to focus on the positive and work towards addressing some of the negatives in our country. That's how we can build a country, and I think that's the approach you guys are taking. I think that's the approach all of us should take in the country. So, my brothers, all the best. Jah guide. You say Jah guide, right?
See Jah guide, man. Rastafari.
Rastafari. All right, boss man.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having us, man. We appreciate that. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, I promise you, I will come on a tour.
Yes.
My old grammar school partner there, the tour, and my Michelle Massive on a tour there. Thank you very much.
Dominica in a different way.
No, I will come. I will come.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, very much.
We'll take a break. Thank you.
All right.
Today, my name is Joan Edmond. I'm 27. I farm in Neba Central. I'm from the village of Layu. I am currently occupying 3.5 acres. I am planning on extending that to about 7 acres. My crops, I mainly grow bananas, plantain, dashing, and I do some short crops, seasoning peppers, sweet corn. In terms of the World Bank program, I have received fertilizer, I have received the maize blower, This project has impacted my life very greatly because after Maria, I was struggling with the farm because everything got destroyed. The inputs have helped me a long way. I've occupied all of the land, which was more than 50% was abandoned. Right now I have almost 100% crops. So the World Bank program has developed my life very much. Just like to say thank you to the government of Dominica and to the World Bank for everything that they have done and for seeing the need to develop agriculture in Dominica.
All right, thank you and welcome back. You know, I was very touched by these two gentlemen's contribution tonight, and it has almost left me speechless. This doesn't happen regularly, but these are two young men I've known for so long, and to see them engaging themselves in such constructive and positive things, you know, really gives me the assurance that the future of our country is bright, and there's potential there. For the remaining part of the program, which is about 30 minutes, I will speak to you about a number of issues from LIAT to the country's opening of the borders, the reopening of the borders. I will speak to you about some of the things that will be happening this week. I will speak briefly about the Guyana elections, and I will be speaking to you about looking forward, looking ahead. First, before I continue, I'd like to congratulate the West Indies team who beat England by 4 wickets today. You know, it was a very exciting victory, and I wish them all the best in going into the third test. And my hope is that they can beat England on this third test. And you know, real positive things. We always give West Indies blows, but when they do well, we must say that they have done well, and they have done well, and I want to congratulate them, and we will be supporting them. They have to win this and continue to make us proud. Excellent, and of course, the management and the coaching teams, we want to commend you for your guidance and leadership to the team. First of all, with regards to the situation of air transportation in the region, Dominica's position has always been, and this is why we've always supported LIA, even when we were criticized within Dominica for investing in what we call a failed airline. We appreciated the exceptional contribution of LIAT to Dominica's economy and to the Caribbean. LIAT had its own issues, which are natural in this circumstance, because in many respects, LIAT would fly to destinations that they should not be flying from an economic standpoint, but recognizing that they had a greater regional responsibility, and so we treated LIAT as a public good, you know. This is why 4 governments continued to invest in LIAT, and we've done so with no regrets. I have no regrets whatsoever for putting our taxpayers' money, our country's taxpayers' money into LIAT. LIAT during that period served us pretty well, and we were grateful, especially during disaster times. In Erica, in Maria, LIAT was very helpful. Even in the COVID period, when they shut down, they were doing some charters. They assisted us with transporting our students, you know, and they were very, very helpful. You know, with a telephone call, they would respond. People like Captain Senhouse and others, you know, the team out of Barbados, the team in Antigua, we had contact with, and very, very helpful and so on. It is a sad reality where LIAT is now in respect to its huge challenge. These challenges which confront LIAT were present prior to COVID, but obviously have gotten worse as a result of COVID, like many other companies all over the world, the Caribbean included. With the with Liat not flying and not be able to fly, this certainly has created great uncertainty among all of us in the Caribbean. How do we get from one island to the other? And it's always there's the saying, you never miss the water until the well runs dry. You know, so all of us who criticize Liat are now asking for, you know, where is Liat and when is Liat going to come back in the air and so on. And we have always stated that our investment in Liat was to assure Dominicans and residents and visitors to Dominica the ability to get in and out of Dominica. And Liat provided in great respect that assurance. Notwithstanding with Liat, we had arrangements with Inter-Caribbean Airlines, AT or Antilles, as we say in English, was very helpful. They were all very helpful. Inter-Caribbean, as I said, helpful. One Caribbean airline was very helpful. They took our passengers from Jamaica for our students during COVID-19, and they were very, very helpful in that regard. So they demonstrated that they have some capacity. Dominica's position is that we will support all initiatives that would allow for flights in and out of Dominica. And so all of the interested parties who want to fly into Dominica, we will facilitate. There's Caribbean Airlines, there's Inter-Caribbean Airlines, there's One Caribbean. Air Antilles has indicated to us, I met with the owner of Air Antilles myself last week, who has indicated his willingness to even expand the services to Dominica and to the wider Caribbean. They have the planes, they have the know-how, and so forth. So we prepare to support this. What we would like to see happen in the region is something that we've been speaking about as a Caribbean region for a long time, is that we need to develop a regional policy on air transportation, especially now with the presence of so many additional airlines that have shown an interest in flying in the region. This is a small space, and we need to ensure that there is better coordination of routes. Otherwise, we're going to have a kind of cannibalizing taking place, and people are going to lose money. And once businessmen start losing money, businessmen will stop operating. And so we need to ensure that we do not have airlines fighting for the limited space that we have. We need to organize it such that the particular routes that they can allow each other to fly. Now, in respect to Liat and any new entity of Liat, we have indicated our position on this, that in keeping the Dominica's overall policy, that if this is going to assure flights into Dominica, we will support. So this is our position on this. There are a lot of things happening with air transportation, and I want to assure the Dominican public that once the borders reopen, then we will certainly be able to get in and out of Dominica. And we're engaging in discussions across the board. We are open, we're transparent in this, and once we would have finalized things, we'll be in a position to come to the public, Dominican public, and say decisively, definitively, these are the issues that Dominica is involved in, and this is how we believe it's going to benefit the Dominican people. So this is where it is and so forth. In respect to our country's borders, as we have said to you, my dear people, our primary objective and interest is to protect the Dominican citizens and residents who are currently on island and who have been on island since COVID-19, and those of you who have returned home in an organized way following the protocols. The reopening of the borders for Dominica, we're not reopening our borders based on economic consideration. I do not want to put economic consideration ahead of our safety and well-being and welfare. We need to ensure that we go about the reopening of the borders in a very cautious and a calculated and deliberate, controlled manner. If we and this is what the government is seeking to do. This is why we are opening the country on a phased basis. So the first phase is to allow Dominican citizens and residents to return home. As we know that there are several of you who are stuck. You went out on vacation, you went out for medical reasons, you were out as students, you have spent all the money that you went out with, you have no money, people where you're staying have lost their jobs. I deal with things, as you know, in a very practical basis. I don't go reading textbooks to deal with things. I deal with things that I know that are affecting Dominican people, and I try my best as the Prime Minister to fashion policies and programs to respond to practical issues. And so the first phase is to allow for Dominican citizens and residents to return home, and we will open on July 15, 2020. Now, there is a questionnaire that you must fill out prior to your travel to Dominica, prior to your arrival in Dominica, and you must be subjected where you are to a PCR test, which is the standard bearer of detecting COVID-19 across the globe, the PCR test. You must have a negative reading of this PCR test. If you have a positive reading of the PCR test, my sincere advice to you for your welfare and for the welfare of your family and for the welfare of the rest of us in Dominica is for you to seek medical attention where you currently are. And once you get better, you'll be in a position to travel that is safe for you, that is safe for your family. And when you get to Dominica, you'll be subjected to certain protocols. You will be subjected to a rapid test. You haven't subjected yourself to a PCR test, and that PCR test must be taken between 24 to 72 hours prior to your arrival in Dominica. So it's important for you to inform yourself as to where you currently reside, which entity that provides that kind of service, the PCR test. A number of agencies that are approved and recognized by the governments where you reside, who can subject you to a PCR test. So when you get here, you'll also be subjected to screening, a temperature screening. We've been advised by the Ministry of Health that if your reading is 98 degrees or higher, you will be pulled aside and go into a separate area where further examination will be done, and you will be subjected to a quarantine, and you'll be further subjected to a PCR test. Now, you will be in quarantine to allow for the results of the PCR test to be had. And if that PCR test is negative, you will be sent home to your family. And in some cases, some hotels are participating. So if you decide to go to a hotel, then you participate in a hotel. If that PCR test comes back positive, then you will be taken into the isolation facility at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital, and you'll be exposed to treatment there. If your PCR, if your temperature is fine, again you'll be subjected to a rapid test, and the result will be given to you almost immediately, as I've been told, and then you'll be allowed to go if there's a particular reading to the satisfaction of the medical team. So this is in a nutshell. The arrangements have been made. We solicit the cooperation and understanding of all concerned, because we're doing this for your safety, for the safety of your family, and for the safety of our country. Then we're considering opening up on August 7th to participate in the CARICOM bubble and to allow visitors into Dominica. Again, they'll be subjected to some of these protocols, and the details will be provided by the Ministry of Health officials in the course of next week, in terms of visitors and our participation in what has been phrased as the CARICOM bubble. The CARICOM bubble is a situation to allow movement, travel between countries, participating countries, and in that CARICOM bubble, we'll be exempting some countries because of the challenges which they're having now with the management of COVID-19. And those lists of countries that the citizens and visitors will be allowed to travel will be will also provide to the public in a very short time. Now, I want to say to Dominicans and foreigners who are currently resident in Guadeloupe and Martinique and elsewhere, that the illegal entry into Dominica should be discouraged. This idea of Dominicans coming in backdoor, as we call it, or for illegal means, it is a dangerous practice. Now, if you are currently in Guadeloupe or Martinique or anywhere else, and you're stranded and you're in distress, I would suggest to you that you make contact with the government officials here, or you can make contact with the consulate in Guadeloupe or in Martinique to indicate to them that you are in distress and you would like to get home. If you're able to charter a plane or charter a boat to come in, we know that you're coming in, we'll allow you to come in and subject you to certain protocols, including quarantine. But the idea of you coming in backdoor is a dangerous practice. And I am literally beseeching you to cease and desist from that practice. We have done well for ourselves as a country to contain and to manage COVID-19 in Dominica. If people come into our country illegally, that is to say, we do not know they're coming, and we do not know that they're here, because Dominica is a porous country. We are surrounded by water. You know, and if you come into the country and nobody knows, and you're there in a village, and you're in the bars, and you're in the shop, you know, you're on the beach, you're in the river, and you just came from Guadeloupe or Martinique, you know, nobody knows, you have not done any tests. You do not know whether you have COVID-19. We do not know that you're there, and therefore we can't know that you have COVID-19 or you don't have it. You know, we have to address this. And if we the citizens of Dominica know of people who would have come into the country illegally, we need to let the authorities know that, you know, because it is important that we let the people know these things so that we can test these people and ensure that they do not have COVID-19. Just imagine if I mean, the police intercepted yesterday a boat with about 8 people, 7 Dominicans and 1 foreign national, coming in Dominica illegally from Guadeloupe. Now, if these 8 people were to come, you know, if luckily the police intercepted them, if they were to go into 8 different villages in Dominica, and all 8 of them having COVID-19, they could all infect 20 people each. I mean, we should not be so reckless. We cannot be so reckless and indifferent to all of us in the country. So I'm appealing to us that we have to take this thing seriously. We have to take this thing seriously and adhere to the protocols, adhere to the guidelines by the Ministry of Health. COVID-19 is not something to play with. And we need to be able to know who is coming into the country, and we need to ensure that they're all subjected to the protocols and the guidelines and the testing protocols. So my call on us, and those of you who are engaging in this illegal entry, to cease and desist from this practice. So we're opening for Dominican citizens and residents July 15th, and we will give you further details on the testing protocols, the screening and the quarantine protocols. And we need to maintain the sanitary practices and protocols of washing our hands, sanitizing our hands, etc., etc. The other point I want to speak about and lend my voice to is in respect to the Guyana elections. The Guyana elections were held in March of this year, and up to this day, they have not been able to declare officially a winner of the elections. Now, as you know, I was part of a delegation led by the then chairman of CARICOM, the Honorable Prime Minister of Barbados, and included, I believe, about 4 other prime ministers. When we left there, we thought that the matter was solved, but certainly it hasn't been solved. They have gone to court many times. The CCJ has ruled on this matter, and my understanding is that the members of the commission, electoral commission, who are refusing to attend meetings, and the chairman and the chief election officer is refusing to follow the law and the court order. Our hope and prayer is that everyone in Guyana will do what is correct, what is right, and to bring to an end the announcement of the long-awaited results. The situation is untenable. I do not want to get involved in any country's domestic issues, but just to say that it is important that that this election come to an end, and that the Guyanese people can go about their business knowing who their legitimate government is, and that the efforts to contain COVID and to grow the Guyanese economy can continue with the government of the people's choosing. Tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, we'll be commissioning 3 new bridges. These new bridges are a gift from the government of China. We're very grateful to the government of China for this gift. If we had to find the monies to build those bridges, one can appreciate the sheer cost of these bridges. When you look at the bridge in Batali and the bridge in Makosri, these are not joke bridges. The Chinese architects and engineers have designed this bridge, taking into consideration the vulnerability index of Dominica, and we are assured and we're comforted based on what we've seen on the bridge in the Layu Valley area, which withstood the ravages of Hurricane Maria, that we are satisfied that these 3 bridges will certainly withstand any natural catastrophic event we will be subjected to. This is a major improvement. Now the road network on the Eau-de-Blanc Highway is much improved. The safety to road users has been improved and enhanced. My advice to pedestrians and drivers is to be careful on these roads. So we're very grateful to the government of the People's Republic of China for their continued friendship, their continued partnership, and their commitment to Dominica and Dominicans and to this very mutually beneficial relationship which we've had for the last 15 years. This is a major plus for us and a major step forward, and we are very grateful for this. They have done a remarkable job. The bridges have been tested independently, and the report shows that the construction has been excellent. And I look forward to participating in this event tomorrow, and I'm sure that it will be a major excitement for all Dominicans, especially those who commute on a daily basis along the Eau-de-Blanc Highway. And you know, this is why we did not stop construction during COVID. We put in place protocols, and they worked. And this is why we always said, you know, we tried our best with great success to manage the COVID in a responsible manner. So we allow certain economic activities to take place, but at the same time ensuring that they were done within the ambits of responsibility. And we're very grateful for this, because we recognize that we could not have stopped the construction of these bridges because they're too critical, especially in in the hurricane season. We couldn't have stopped the construction of so many of the health centers, all of which are completed now. Vickers, Portsmouth, Bellevue Chopin, Marigot, are all complete. Maho is nearing completion. West is on its way. Bacatel is on its way as well. So and of course the Marigot Hospital. You heard, there's so many people who wanted to demonstrate because there were no hospital in Marigot. Now that the hospital is under construction, the very same people have not even visited the site. So it tells you that sometimes when people talk about things that they're interested in and they would like to see, you ask yourself, do they really want it? Because if you ask me for ice cream and I'm able to give you an ice cream, you would gobble up the ice cream very quickly. You see what I'm saying? But and say thanks. But they wanted the hospital, wanted now, and see how quickly we have been able to advance this hospital to the point now, in the next week or two, we'll be putting on the concrete roof of the hospital. The whole structure is basically up. The whole structure is basically up. We started this hospital late last year, and see where we are, because we allow it to continue during COVID-19, because the hospital, a health center, were critical. They're critical to the country. This is why we allow for construction of the hotels to continue, because the hotels are important. We create jobs, advance the economy, but doing so in a responsible manner. And thank God we have seen positive results. No COVID from these sites, but work advance. The economy is better up. The preparation of the country for natural disaster and the improvement of the health care facilities, much more advanced than they were 8 months ago, a year ago. And this is the onward thrust to creating a dynamic Dominica. So we'll be commissioning these 3 bridges tomorrow. Now, there are some questions raised about the international airport. I am very much convinced that the international airport is important to Dominica's economic future. We believe that all of the investments that we've made in tourism, that the international airport will help sustain those investments. I believe if we can improve air access in Dominica, that would solve a major challenge confronting tourism and agriculture in our country. And I have faith and I have confidence that our country will see an international airport. We have not stopped working. During the COVID period, we continue to work on this airport, and I give you that assurance that this will be one of my parting gifts for this country, an international airport. And I'm absolutely committed to this airport and to see the airport come to fruition. Likewise, the cruise port, we have not stopped the preparatory work on this. The number of things associated with this airport, obviously, we've been hampered because of COVID. People cannot travel to come in to do the necessary marine studies that are required and the geological testing that are required. So we have seen where these things are concerned, because you need the external experts to come in with the necessary equipment to do the studies and so forth. And so once we can open up the borders and so forth and allow people to come in, we will be able to have more advancements made in respect to these projects and so forth. So we're very committed to these projects. They're very, very critical to us, very, very important to our country, and we have to work diligently, continue to work diligently to make them happen. I am happy to note that our farmers continue to benefit from the World Bank facility. Agro-processors, small agro-processors are also benefiting. We look forward to ensuring that those investments can replicate themselves, can bring in more money to the farmers and create greater wealth, because we have to advance our efforts to creating greater wealth among the population. So we're very happy for this. I understand that the facility, the small business facility at the Aid Bank is going on, I would like to see it go on much faster so that there can be a shorter turnaround time for applicants, and that those who have applied and who have not heard from the bank, that the time the bank gets back to them will be a shorter period. People need the money, they need it now, and we need to ensure that that we can advance this stuff. And if the aid bank needs more staff, we have a lot of staff in the public service they can send to you to get the work done. Likewise, the DSS. I know quite a number of people have benefited and continue to benefit from this income support. Some $15.7 million placed there. I would like to see an increase in the speed of processing time. I understand that you need more staff, and there was a meeting on Friday or Thursday, and an agreement has been reached to send you additional staff so we can get this application process going. And we need to push faster, and my view is that we should work 24 hours rather than 8 hours a day on this and so on. I get too many WhatsApp messages of people telling me that they applied and they haven't heard, gotten back, and they call in and they're not getting an answer and so on. So let us try to fix these things, and where you believe the government can assist in helping you fix these things. I would like to be contacted myself directly if both of you who run these institutions need to contact me directly. I would like to say to us, we need to, in this country, maintain a positive attitude. You have these two gentlemen there. One shy guy who depended on cruise tourism for his survival, but who is creating his own niche, his own opportunities. As he said, his back was against the wall. He had to look at what can he do to survive, and he's taking to develop a particular, carve out a particular niche for himself to survive. Sheppy as well, has created his own niche and is doing well and so on. And that's what we need to do. We must not look at the glass half empty. We must look at it half full. When we look at the glass half full, then we must put drops in it to get it to the brim. But if we see it half empty, we're defeating our own purpose in life, our own contribution to our country's development. It is easy for people to be negative. It's easier for people to criticize. If somebody is not responsible for anything, he's living like a lizard or a zandoli, or a bird in the trees. He jumped from one branch to the other. He wakes up in the morning and he is in the garbage bin looking for salacious stories and bringing falsehoods to the country. And when facts are presented, the correct information, they don't say, okay, well, thank you for the information. They set it aside and they continue to pursue the negative stuff. So we have to see ourselves as what is going to be our individual contribution to Dominica. We may not agree with everything the government is doing, and that's fine. But to not agree with everything the government is doing doesn't make sense to anybody. So we need to be constructive, especially in this period. This period is a difficult period for everybody, government included. I don't come complaining to the country as Minister of Finance how difficult it is to pay salaries and to pay our debt. We just had to pay $11 million to bondholders. We gone $11 million. And when the FS sent this to me, I was pretending I did not get the message. Because $11 million, I know what we could have done $11 million otherwise, but we have an obligation to pay our bondholders, and we have to pay our bondholders. So I understand how difficult it is for some people, but let us be constructive. If we say we are leaders in this country, then we have to be constructive. But if we're always on the radio and on Facebook and negative, that's the diet we want to feed our people. Come on. That's what the Lord gave us life for? To be negative? Did we ever see Jesus be negative in the Bible, on his short time on earth? He allowed the blind to see, the lame to walk. He raised the dead he raised the dead to life. He turned water into wine. All positive acts. And he said to us in Matthew 25. What did he say to us in Matthew 25? If we are Catholics, we know what the Beatitudes. Christ is not going to ask us how many times we prayed, how many times we go to church, or how many Holy Communions we got. He's going to take us to Matthew 25. What have you done for the least of my brothers? When I was homeless, did you shelter me? When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was sick, did you come visit me? These are the questions Christ is going to ask us. He's not going to ask us how many times we went on a talk show and we were negative. He's not going to ask us how many times he's not going to pat us on the back and when he reminds us of how destructive we were to each other and how many times we engage in character assassination of each other. No. And so for me, my brothers and sisters, I am here as your humble servant, your chief servant, to do what I can to help people's lives, to make people's life better. I'm not no perfect leader. I'm not no perfect being. I do what I have to do for the country. It becomes difficult sometimes because sometimes I get the impression that people are not grateful for the sacrifice I make personally for this country, what I've had to give up to be leader of this country, and what I have to deal with on a daily basis. My family, my children have to be subjected to on a daily basis by people who all I've been is kind to. And I urge people to read The Merchant of Venice and read it carefully. And tell me what did Shylock say when he was being persecuted by envious people. People who never saw when Shylock was working hard to earn what he has earned. But we become envious of people for material things. So I wish you all the best, my dear brothers and sisters. Let us go this week to serve our God and country, and let us do so dutifully, diligently, and with a pure heart. We are not perfect, and will never be perfect, but all we have to do is to do good. And when you're doing good for people, and you've been criticized, do more good. Continue doing good, because you're doing good. Next week, I will have two ministers with me, two friends, Honorable Laville, the Minister for the Digital Economy, and Honorable Oscar Judge, Minister responsible for telecommunications. I shall be speaking to both of them about the digital economy and telecommunications. There'll be some very important questions asked of them, and I have no doubt they will have very interesting responses to them. So we'll be focusing on this, so please, you can send your questions in advance. You don't have to wait to call. If you have questions, take them, because a lot of the questions I ask are questions that people ask on WhatsApp and in social media, and I formulate those and ask my guests those questions that you ask. And so all my questions come from you, the public, and so forth. And I want to thank you for listening. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
We are in the hurricane season. Here are some tips to keep your families and communities safe. Before a hurricane, ensure that you know your emergency shelters. Contact the Office of Disaster Management for information on shelters closest to you. Have disaster supplies on hand. Non-perishable canned food and water. Portable battery-operated radios. Flashlights and extra batteries, essential medicines, first aid kits, cash and bank cards. In the home, protect your windows. A low-cost approach is to put up plywood panels. Trim branches away from your home and cut all dead or weak branches on any trees on your property. Check into your home and auto insurance. Confirm that policies are valid and coverage is appropriate. Make arrangements for pets and livestock. Develop an emergency communication plan. Make sure that all family members know what to do. Teach family members how and when to turn off gas, electricity, and water. During a hurricane watch, listen to the radio or television for hurricane progress reports. Avoid open flames such as candles and kerosene lamps as a source of light. If power is lost, turn off major appliances to reduce power surge when electricity is restored. Store drinking water in clean jugs, bottles, and cooking utensils. During a hurricane warning, if you need to evacuate your home, lock up and go to the nearest shelter. Take blankets or sleeping bags to the shelter. Listen constantly to a radio or television for official instructions. Store valuables and personal papers in a waterproof container on the highest level of your home. Stay inside, away from windows and glass doors.